Safety first, everyone! Hello, my friend! Welcome to another episode of Make Them Mainstream. My name is Danielle. I am the founder and CEO of Make Them Mainstream, and I help parents and educators teach their daughters and female students about STEM, specifically in early STEM education. Every Wednesday, I post a video about an influential female in STEM, and every Thursday, I post a video about female STEM education, or we do fun STEM activities together. And if you don't know, STEM stands for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. I want to do a lot of fun science, technology, engineering, and mathematics activities with you and with your children. But there's one thing that we have to talk about first before we can get to all that fun stuff. Before we can do fun STEM activities, we have to talk about safety. Teaching our students lab safety seems like a no-brainer. But lab safety is different than your day-to-day safety. We have to focus on more than looking both ways before we cross a street, or staying away from hot stoves. We have to focus on absolutely everything that's going around in our surroundings. So teaching your child about safety right now, even if they're in preschool, will help prepare them when they get to STEM activities that require a lab and that require them to use important safety rules. Whenever you or your student participate in some STEM activity, you always must follow these rules. Always wear protective clothing. Always read the directions. Always have on your listening ears. When you don't know, ask. And always inform the teacher. Teaching your children and your students these 5 safety rules will help you avoid a lot of hazards. STEM is fun and exciting, but no matter what activity you're doing, safety is paramount. Safety is the most important thing. So now let's talk about each rule. Always wear protective clothing. Most STEM activities are going to require some kind of protective gear. That is why I always wear this lab coat. This lab coat will help keep me and my clothes safe if I spill something during an experiment. Protective eyewear is very important as well. And if you're like me and you wear glasses, then you already have some kind of protection. But there are glasses or goggles that you can use during your experiments to help keep your eyes safe. A hair tie is also super important, especially for those of us with long hair. Keeping your hair up and out of your face is important because it won't block your vision. It also ensures that your hair won't get caught in any kind of experiment. Ponytails work, but putting it up in a bun is even better. This is just 3 types of protective clothing that you can wear. There's a whole list of a bunch more. And depending on the activity you do, that depends on the kind of clothing that you're going to need. Rule number 2. Always read the directions. You must read the directions before you start any type of STEM activity. The directions are important because they'll tell you the type of protective clothing that you need, certain types of materials that you need for your experiment, and they'll also tell you things to watch out for. We can't bend the rules until we know what the rules are first. Rule number 3, always have on your listening ears. Sometimes when we're doing an experiment, we have to work with other people. And if you're doing an experiment with little ones, then they should always be supervised. Make sure that your child has on their listening ears so they can learn from you. But make sure that you have on your listening ears as well, because a lot of the times, they're going to see something or find something that you might not notice. Constant communication is important in the lab to make sure that everyone stays safe. Rule number 4, when you don't know, ask. It's okay not to know everything. In fact, you shouldn't know everything. Why go and do an experiment if you already know what the outcome is going to be? Admitting that you don't know what's going on and then going out and searching for that information is a vital part in becoming a scientist, technologist, engineer, or mathematician. So if you're unsure on how to conduct an experiment, then ask someone. And when your child asks you a question and you don't know the answer, then you can always go and look it up. You can always contact me at danielleconnelly@makethemmainstream.com or use your search engine of choice. Rule number 5. Always inform the teacher or the person in charge. No matter what you are doing in the lab or what happens in the lab, the person in charge should always be the first to know. Your students should always go up to the person in charge if something happens during the lab. If they spill something in the lab, they go and inform the teacher first before cleaning it up. If someone gets hurt, they go and tell the person in charge first before doing something about it. If something goes wrong in the lab, even if it's the smallest, tiniest thing, the teacher or person in charge needs to know. Here's a bonus tip for you. Always leave your station cleaner than you found it. Keeping a tidy work area will minimize the risks that could happen during an experiment. After the experiment is done, everything must be cleaned up and put away in order to make room for another group or perhaps even another experiment. Cleanup is a vital part of learning, and it allows your students to digest the things that they just learned during their experiment. When we stay safe, then that means that we can continue to do fun STEM or STEAM activities. Staying safe doesn't mean that we don't get to have fun or that we don't get to be curious, but staying safe actually makes us better scientists and allows us to be curious for longer. We must follow these rules when we do any type of STEM activity, no matter how long you're going to participate. Even if you're going to participate in an activity for only 2 minutes, you have to follow these rules. In science, a lot of stuff can happen in a very short amount of time, and that's why we have to stay safe at all times. Keep you and your students safe in the lab. And if you want a lab safety video specifically for the students to watch, then let me know in the comments below and I'll make sure to make that happen. If you have any comments or questions or concerns about lab safety, then please let me know in the comments below. I will be happy to talk to you about them. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I hope that you enjoyed this video and found it super informational. If you did, then give it a thumbs up. And if you love this video, then like the Make Them Mainstream Facebook page or the Make Them Mainstream YouTube channel. I hope you have an absolutely wonderful day. Don't forget to keep discovering, stay curious, and happy learning.